And coming up at 11:30, a little later this hour, we're going to talk to Boston's police commissioner about really a lot of the questions that Deborah's posing, where this investigation stands, where it goes from here, how serious were the threats, and also how officers knew that they had to make their move when they did. Let's continue this discussion, though. Let's bring in Robert Spencer. He's with the American Freedom Defense Initiative, as well as the director of Jihad Watch. Robert, you work hand in hand with Pamela Geller. Tell us, when did you become aware of this threat?
Well, the way we found out about it, as a matter of fact, was through CNN, when they contacted Pamela Geller for comment, asking her what she thought about having been the target of this jihad terror plot. And this was the first that she had learned about it. FBI officials had said that something was afoot, but had not been specific. However, it has to be said to their credit that they were obviously on the case, and they knew that this was coming down, and they stopped it from happening. And so even if they didn't fully inform us of all that was going on, they did their job.
The Boston police commissioner has essentially said that the thoughts of going after Pamela Geller, that was more wishful thinking, that the real target in the end did appear to be Boston police officers. Nevertheless, Robert, you know, you're appearing right now at an undisclosed location. Do you fear for your safety?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. This is not a joke, and it was not wishful thinking in the case of the Pamela Geller plot. I can tell you that the FBI met with her last week, and they told her that something serious was afoot, but they didn't give her specifics. Now we know what it was. But this was never a joke. This was never wishful thinking. He only changed his mind on Tuesday morning. He was actually going to go to New York until the morning he was killed when he attacked the police officers. So this was a very real plot, and of course there's every reason to take seriously their threats against Pamela Geller, and they said everyone who's associated with her, so I take that seriously and take precautions as well.
So Pamela has said one thing that has stuck out recently I wanted to ask you about. She has said that ISIS is here, ISIS is in America, and this is war. With that in mind, especially in light of this threat and the threat you guys have been under, from your perspective, how do you wage that war? How do you fight that enemy? What's your prescription, if you will?
What we are doing is trying to show what needs to be done in order to win this war, and that's to show that we will not kowtow to violent intimidation. They're trying to frighten Americans into silence and submission. They're trying to say, you have to do what we say, you have to not do what we want and do what we want, and if you do not, we will kill you. And the mainstream media, Robert, including CNN, is going along.
You do not change, going forward in light of this threat, you don't change what you guys are doing.
We're never going to surrender and never going to submit. The media is submitting by not showing the cartoons and kowtowing to this violent threats and intimidation. That's just the wrong thing to do because it's only going to encourage more violent threats and intimidation.
Well, look, leave the media aside for a second. The media didn't target Pamela Geller. The media didn't attack that conference you had in Garland, Texas.
The media targets Pamela Geller all the time. Are you kidding?
The media had Pamela Geller on this morning to talk about this. We are having you on to discuss this. We are having you on to discuss this today. Let's continue to discuss it rather than pointing fingers. Pamela Geller, one of the things she did say is you have a couple more initiatives in the works. I'm wondering if you can tell us here what you are planning going forward.
Well, we're going to be announcing those very soon. And they do involve the cartoons of Muhammad that the media refuses out of fear to show. And we are the only ones who are willing to stand and say we are not going to be frightened and cowed into silence and submission. The jihadis made the cartoons the flashpoint. We didn't. The jihadis made the cartoons the point at which the freedom of speech is being challenged. If we do not meet them on that point, then the freedom of speech as a whole will be lost.
Robert, this most recent plot, this originated in Boston. Have you guys reached out to the Muslim community in Boston to work on how to engage, how to gain a better understanding, how to work together to fight extremist views?
The Islamic Society of Boston, that the Usama Rahim was a member, was also the mosque that was attended by the Tsarnaev brothers, by Afia Siddiqui, who's doing 86 years in prison for an al-Qaeda plot, by Tariq Mahana, who's doing 17 years for an al-Qaeda plot, by Ahmed Abu Samra, who was the Islamic State's propagandist who was just recently reportedly killed. It was founded by Abdurrahman al-Amudi, who's doing 23 years for funding al-Qaeda.
That's not every single person in the Muslim community is part of that. Right.
This is the Islamic Society of Boston. The Islamic Society of Boston needs to be investigated. It doesn't need to be partnered with. It needs to be investigated.
You're talking about one group, though, here, just to be clear. You're not saying every Muslim
that is the group
Boston.
that
is
of
a
course
group.
Not.
That
but
is a group.
The question
right?
is, yes, the question is, where are the Muslims in Boston who are protesting against the Islamic Society of Boston? Where are the Muslims in Boston who are saying, not in my name, the ISB doesn't represent me, I don't stand for the kinds of things that are obviously being taught in those mosques?
Robert Spencer, we wish you continued safety. We thank you coming on, and we look forward to future discussions with you. Thanks so much, sir.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks very much.